do you know, how will you know when that time where you're like, yeah, this is the right time? How do you know when that's going to be?
I don't know. I'd like to say you just know, but everyone always says you never know and you're never ready. So
You're not.
I think
Never
that
100% ready.
I think that has to do with kids and walking away from the sport that I love and that I've committed so much time to. So I think from both perspectives, it's going to be very, very hard. But I also feel like it will be at a point where I at least feel like I've put in not everything, but close to everything into my year of training or years of training to show up to the games and give it everything I've got. And you can't base that off of until I get on the podium, because everything's out of your control once you get to the games and the leaderboard and the workouts and whether you get sick or who knows what's going to happen. So it's really the buildup of the year and how I feel about everything that I put into it that I think will give me the peace to be able to walk away and say, I'm happy and I'm proud of what I've done.
And you mentioned all those external factors, and one of them is obviously the evolution of the sport from like the athletes and the generational changes, and it feels like you've been at the games forever, but you broke through in 2018, which is really towards the start of this new modern era, I would say. And since then, we've seen younger athletes join the conversation. Older athletes kind of phase out with some of the OGs of the sport, as you will. Is there anything from that you take from both ends of that equation that kind of helps drive your own training or your perspective on where you are in your career and where you want to go?
I don't think so. I think it's cool to kind of have both eras still going at it, because everyone brings something different. And yep. I think that people are probably training very differently, as they should be. The 33-year-old should not be training as the 17, 18-year-olds are. I'm sure they're doing way, way, way more than me. I don't even want to know how much they're doing, because it's different. And like, we've put in the years of volume and they can tolerate it. They can come back from it. But I do think it is really, really cool to see how long that's going to continue. Like, obviously, those of us that are in our 30s are only going to last so much longer. But, I think it's going to be cool to see how that changes. Are these girls still going to compete till they're 30? Or are they going to go, 18 to 25 and be done? Or, are there still going to be girls that qualify when they're 26, 27, like I did for the very first time? And I think it's going to be cool to see how the sport evolves. I think we'll have more of the younger side, probably just because it seems like it's kind of going that direction, but I don't think that that's going to be everyone for forever.
When you look back on your career so far, and you've had a really good one, how do you think you have changed as an athlete from when you first showed up to the games in 2018 till now?
Oh my gosh, I've changed so much. It's just perspective of like believing in yourself and knowing all of the work that you put in. I feel like as confident as you can be your first year, everyone's still scared to death and you're just clueless. Like, you have no clue what to expect. And now you kind of learned that you don't expect anything. Like, you're just prepared for things to go horribly wrong a lot of the time. And, for you to hate a lot of the workouts and for you not to feel your best and for it to just kind of be a mess. But like, it's how you come through all of that is how the games really matters. And I think that people don't really realize that until you're in it, like how hard it actually is mentally, so much more than physically. And like, all of the little things that go into it matter so much more. Like, every single person's fit, but showing up in each workout is by far the hardest part of the games. And you learn that over time. So then you get less stressed about it. You learn how to handle it. You learn yourself better. You just get more of a calm confidence as opposed to kind of a scared, just not knowing what's going to happen when you first start.
And kind of touching on that a little bit, you kind of came into the sport in a very unique way, I would say. You won 3 events at regionals that year. I think you were one of either 2 athletes or maybe the only athlete to do that, to qualify and win 3 events. You win an event at the games your first year. 2019, you win another event. To say it's rare for athletes to win events frequently is an understatement, I think. Did that alter your perception of yourself or your expectations when you're talking about trying to learn what the games really are when you're notching some 100-point performances?
No, honestly, it didn't. And I kind of I think just because that's how it went for me at the beginning is kind of, then I had this expectation on myself, like, you have the capacity to win workouts. That means you should win workouts. And, you know, when that doesn't happen, I'm looking back and thinking, okay, what have I done wrong here? Like, yeah, sometimes the programming is not going to line up perfectly, but for the most part, when there's a ton of events, you should have one that you should be able to win, for the most part. And I think that had a lot to do with me looking back at this last year and being like, man, I didn't want to work out this year. Like, okay. That's not the main goal of the games, but it also just kind of gives you like, have we stepped away too much from my strengths and not focused on the things that I am really, really good at? Because there are some workouts that I should have done better in. And then I look at Rogue, and I don't want to dwell on this too much, but there were so many workouts that I should have knocked out of the park, and I just wasn't ready for them. So I never ever again want to come up to a workout where I say Amanda Barnhart should win this and not win it. And I think that was kind of my fuel for change, because I have become more well-rounded over the years, and I know I have the ability to win workouts, and I expect that of myself.